Hello, mate.
Hello, Marilena.
How are you?
How are you?
Let's go direct to work.
Okay, so we are going to expose our findings of the midterm, okay? So, first of all, we selected the speaker number 3 because we think that it contained richer elements to be analyzed. And in part 1, we anticipated some problems that the speaker might have throughout her speech, given that she's a native Spanish speaker, right? And about all of the problems that we forecasted, we corroborated our assumptions and we found that the speaker mispronounced some of the elements that we considered. However, she correctly pronounced uh, some of them as well.
Of our anticipated problems, the ones that were not fulfilled, that means the ones the speaker pronounced correctly, are these four. The plosive bilabial lineage B and the fricative labial dental lineage V could be produced as the Spanish bilabial allophone beta by the speaker. In this speech, the only word that contains this phoneme is the word have, but it was correctly pronounced, as we said.
Correct. Then, in the same way, the only word that contained the fricative glottal fortis h is have, and the speaker did pronounce it correctly. Even though we anticipated that it could have been pronounced with the Spanish allophone, like in the word jamón or ojo or ajo.
Another word that we anticipated that could be mispronounced is the word snip. This word could have been pronounced snip by a Spanish speaker, but this didn't happen, so it was correctly pronounced.
Right. So likewise, the word techniques was accurately produced, and in this case, we anticipated that a Spanish speaker may pronounce the word with the affricate ch. So this specific word would sound like techniques instead of techniques.
Well, now we are going to discuss those allophones that speaker 3 did mispronounce and were produced according to our prediction.
Right.
So first, it is worth mentioning that some words were unclear for us, given that the reader speaks too fast. We are going to start analyzing the plosive alveolar fortis t. First, we have to mention that those t at the end of a word are not followed by a pause could be affected by elision or assimilation. Thus, we are not going to consider them, even though we have added them on the list in part 1.
They are on the list.
Okay. Having said this, we found that the speaker produces, in most words, the dental allophone as anticipated. For instance, genetically or created,
Right.
She pronounced genetically and created. So the main difference between them is that the English t is alveolar and the Spanish t is dental. So we have to recommend her in order to produce the English t, one should press the tip of the tongue against the middle of the alveolar ridge, but not too near the teeth or the hard palate. For example, tip, party, rat.
Right. So regarding the plosive alveolar lineage the speaker pronounces the Spanish dental plosive the and the dental fricative the, as we anticipated. And we found only one example of the dental plosive, which is DNA, and the speaker clearly produces DNA. and many of the fricative, like in modified and older, the speaker produces as modified, modified and older. And this case is similar to the t, which is alveolar and plosive as well, but fortis. So to correctly express the English the, which is linus, then we suggest the speaker to place the tongue in the same position as the t, but as d is a voiced sound, she should make the vocal cords vibrate during its pronunciation, right? For instance, like the word dog, idea, odd.
With respect to the plosive velar linus g, the speaker clearly produces its Spanish allophone g in the words, regulations and organisms, so they sound regulations organisms. To correctly produce the phoneme g, the speaker should have her tongue in firm contact with the soft palate. And as g is a voiced sound, as in before, she should vibrate her vocal cords. So it is important because it is defined by the position of the tongue. It is a plosive sound, which is a sound made by building up air pressure by stopping airflow and then releasing it. As examples, we have goat, again, leg.
Right. So just as we predicted, the speaker markedly produces the word of as of. Both of them are fricatives, but f is unvoiced while v is voiced. And although v is not a phoneme in Spanish, the Spanish speaker has knowledge on how to produce it. And however, in order to properly pronounce the sound, the speaker must be aware that the bottom lip needs to be very close to the upper front teeth, and then form a narrowing that lets the air through, causing a slight friction. For instance, in the words void, review, and have.
We mentioned in our forecasting that the speaker would produce the fricative alveolar linus z as its counterpart for this s, which effectively occurs. In all of the words containing a z sound, the speaker mistakenly produces its counterpart, such as in as or is, and the plural organisms, she produces as, is, and organisms. So we have to tell her, in order to properly produce the sound z, the top of the tongue has to nearly touch the alveolar ridge, and the blades of the tongue lightly touch the upper back teeth. And as it is a voiced sound, the vocal folds need to vibrate, as in zebra music has.
Okay, we also found that she does not have any problems in pronouncing the voiced affricate j, but in the word largely that should be pronounced with set phoneme, the speaker produces it with the unvoiced fricative fortis sh and the sh. And due to the fact that the speaker knows how to pronounce these sounds, it is just sufficient to simply point out the error.
It was the only word.
Yeah,
she had the error.
Okay, so
oh, well, that's all. We expect to have been clear with our explanation. So bye bye.
Bye bye. See
you.